Well, how are we all? So tonight we're going to start off with this. I hope we're all good. Right. Gang raped in front of the family's husband, forced to hear wife, used as a sex slave for days. And the little boy murdered, protecting his mother. Terrifying accounts of victims in the Sudan sexual violence. And we're not going to go through all the details, but why we're covering this story is because everyone keeps saying about Ukraine and what's going on in Ukraine. But this has been going on in the Sudan, Congo, and other places for years. Since I was a kid, so that's a long time ago. And people just don't care. It seems like if it's not in Europe or something to do with Israel, no one cares. When Qatar and all that was using slave labour and people were dying building for the Olympics, no one cared because it wasn't Israel and it wasn't Europe or the US. No one cares. When China killed 1 million Muslims, no one cared. And this is the problem that I have with these people that get on their high horse on channels, on celebrities that sit there and say, well, I care about Ukraine, or I care about this country, I care about Germany, oh, England's so bad to its people, or France is doing this, or Spain's doing this, Poland should allow more immigrants now. So why are you not saying this when it's South Sudan, South Africa, places like that? Why are we not having people at protest because of that? Why are we not out there trying to stop that? Because it doesn't concern you unless you can get on a political high horse. You know, if you go and protest for the South Sudan, most people in South Sudan don't care because they're trying to live. You don't care about slave labour in these countries because they are producing products that you use. And this is why the world is so bad at the moment, because people want to make out that they care when they couldn't. If this headline had changed and this was IDF did its Palestinians, it would be on every news headline, every channel, day and night. It would be posted on Twitter every 30 seconds. It would be pushed down your throat. But because it's in the Sudan, 19% of people, 99% of people will not even hear about it. This headline will be gone by tomorrow or the next day. Headlines usually last about 2 days. And no one will care. And that is my problem with all these protests and people on their high horses. It's a, how can I put it? It's a game. They don't really care. Right. So let's go to the next one. Keir Starmer promises an extra 3,000 neighbourhood officers on British streets by next year. British Lob tax is putting 1,000 roles at risk. Well, I don't think they're going to get 3,000 more officers because people don't want to join the police force because it's not a police force anymore, it's a political unit. Um, in the UK now, we have 30 people a day being arrested for posts on social media. You have police visits for what you say on social media. You have police visits for talking about even the Rotherham gangs. There's been victims come forward that when they've reported about the abuse that they received, the police have gone out and treated them worse than they do treat the people that actually perpetrated it, because they don't want to seem racist. And in the UK, we call it diversity. Labour government back then, when people were coming forward saying that they got abused and that, was saying it was that the girls should be quiet for diversity and inclusion. And we're still getting it today. Girls are still being abused. Labour are still looking at, past it. So, and to be honest, the local bobbies are crap anyway. Our one round it does nothing. I've met him once, and to be honest, he's absolutely useless. The problem with local bobbies is most of the time they know that people are drug addicts, alcoholics, abusers, and that, but they don't want to do anything because they don't want to cause an upstir. And that's not what the police should be. If they come out and that person is abusing someone, threatening someone, or anything like that, they should arrest them. They shouldn't try and act as go-between, because then more people get hurt, as you keep seeing time after time. Officers go out to a local problem. They say they've dealt with it. But the problem is, at the end of the day, most of the time it just keeps going round and round and round for years. And then someone gets seriously hurt and the police officer goes, "Oh, I did the best I could." No, every time you come out to that person kicking off antisocial behaviour, threats, should be arrested, taken down the station, spend some time in the station, every single time. Other than that, you have got a dereliction of duty. But, as probably most of Starmer's other promises, this will not come true. But yeah, so they're promising more people, 3,000 more police officers, but to be honest, I know more people leaving the service than they are joining it, because they say it's a joke. They are told to treat the ethnic minorities in the community different to what they are, white people. Diversity and inclusion in Britain is not working. Terror-obsessed British mother tries to take her 4 children to Afghanistan to become Irish martyrs, is jailed for life. And so she should be, and so should any of her family that knew about it. To Islamic State and hard clear interest in using her children in warfare. So, her children should be taken off of whoever's looking after them as their family, because the family must have known about this, and they did nothing. They were a danger to them children just as much as the mother was. And I would say that about anyone that wants to go out and join a terrorist organisation. But the problem that we have is we are too soft on it all now, because we don't want to upset anyone in the community. It was like a story that we covered a few months back. A family had been hurting their children, and they went round and took the children off them. But within days, they gave them back because the Muslim community was up in arms because their children had been taken and the state shouldn't have got involved. Well, that's what the state does if you're abusing your children. But they was cowards and gave them back because they didn't want to upset their children. And we keep seeing this time and time again. Child services, MPs, councillors, all giving in to the Muslim and ethnic minority communities because they need their vote to get in and win again. And this is the problem that we have. We used to have it with white estates on places, and there used to be one not far from where I used to be called Stanhope, and that used to just be as bad with white people. Police wouldn't go on there unless they had literally armies of them. And as we used to say, the only posh part of Stanhope back then was when they used to put gloves on when they used to throw bricks. But yeah, so I think the authorities have done right by putting away for life. But the problem is, I think it's something like 40,000 people are on watch lists like this woman in the UK. 40,000. The police can't even keep an eye on 100 people. Sod 40,000. That we have people that want to join ISIS, that are linked to terrorists, that have supported terrorists, that have paid, sent funds to terrorists. But they don't do anything about it because it could upset the communities. And they're not going to do it at the moment because we've got voting coming up, and Labour have already said they do not want to upset the communities because they need their votes, because they're scared that they're going to get destroyed in the May elections in the UK, which we will be keeping an eye on, and we will probably be streaming that night. But yeah, so... But this is the UK at the minute, and no one wants to do anything about it. No political party. That includes Labour, Tories, Reform, Lib Dems, Greens, none of them. They would rather put children, women at risk rather than actually do something about it. Next one. Let's try that again. Former soldier found guilty of travelling to join ISIS claims she suffered multiple serious assaults while in Syria and says she never joined a terrorist group. So she was going to join ISIS now, but because she didn't, she shouldn't have any problems. And she got multiple assaulted and victimhood because she's been found out. But she only got, what is it? Let's have a read. Smith went to Syria in 2015 after terrorist leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi called on Muslims to travel to the country. She has pleaded not guilty to charge membership of the ISIS and provide funds to benefit the group. She sent money to them, so yes. So for that, for joining an ISIS group in the UK, she got 15 months sentence. 15 months for being a terrorist. But we're definitely doing stuff to stop them. We're definitely trying to stop them joining them. 15 months is a joke. She was willing to go out, join a terrorist group and kill people from other countries because a leader from a different country, an old man from a different country, told her to, because she believes her religion, she must follow these leaders. But we haven't got a problem. And people keep saying that it's only 5% that do this. 5% of 2 billion is a huge number. Some people say it's 15 to 20%. You are talking about huge numbers of people that want to see the end to the West, end civilization. And the funny thing is, you get all these people saying, oh, well, it doesn't matter. It does matter, because people like you will take the knee. just for a quiet life, and that is not the way you need to be. You need to talk up about these things, even if you just talk to other people. It's not fair that we keep having to pay to support people like this, who are willing to kill you, your kids. And don't say it doesn't happen, because it does. People all the time are getting killed, stabbed across the country just because of silly things, including religion and freedom of speech. We've still got teachers in hiding because they drawed the Prophet Muhammad. If your religion can't take a comment about your religion or Muhammad, then it's not really a religion at all. The Catholic Church, if you took the mickey out of Jesus, if people can't take a joke, then their religion's not worth anything. But we keep getting people say it doesn't matter. More and more people in the UK are getting radicalised to join ISIS and Islamic State and Hamas, Hezbollah. And you see it with the protests. But people go, oh, well, until they kill someone or blow themselves up, there's not much we can do. That's not good enough. We shouldn't have them people here. If they're joining ISIS, Hezbollah, then they need to leave. And that doesn't matter your colour or anything. If you want to join a terrorist organisation, go and be with that terrorist organisation. You shouldn't be in a civilised country. Simple as. But then Britain again, it's not starting to not be like a civilised country. This is a woman. This woman has a go. You're all effing tramps. It's disgusting.
He needs to come and get that rubbish now and bring it. I swear to God, by God Almighty is my witness, the police will be coming to his gaff today. The police are going to come to everyone's avenue today, whoever's littering on Runcorn Road. Sisters, brothers, anyone, if I see anyone littering now, the police are coming to your door, and I promise you that. But you know what? It's disgusting because we're all meant to be neighbours, living around here, but everyone wants to be like tramps. The other day, I was walking up and down the road, getting the litter up, and not one of you came out to help. That's the cheek of it. Everyone's in their house looking at the rubbish, but no one came out to help me.
They're just literally dumping rubbish in the streets now because they don't care. Birmingham has become a crap hole, and no one wants to do anything about it. The council keeps saying they're trying. I understand why the binmen are on strike, because they're trying to get them to take an £8,000 pay cut. Who's going to take an £8,000 pay cut? No one. But the council are trying it because they're trying to save money. But you're not going to save money, because now all the money that you've saved trying to save, the £8,000 per year for all the workers, you're going to have to spend to clear up Birmingham, because it's a crap hole. It has rats everywhere, and soon people are going to start suing you for health and safety violations. So you're going to get fine on top of fine because you've got a crap hole. Oh, this is the next one. This is the helicopter that crashed into the sea. I think I've actually got it. Yeah, I've actually got it on a different one, but let's see if they show. That's them trying to get the helicopter out of the river. There was one showing it crashed, but they removed it. There's parts of the helicopter.
It sounded like a sonic boom on my right.
And same. There we go. That's how it fell into the river. So don't ask me how that happens. It just looks like the propeller's fallen off. Here we go, see if this is it. So here's the full clip. Or these two different clips, I think. But with a lot of them, it looks like they've got a lever or something inside, especially that one. It looks like they've pushed the lever, someone's pushed that lever inside to stop the rotors. But we will not know until it comes out. But this is what is going on. But it's not the first time. But we keep seeing crashes. Let's get rid of that one now. Let's go to the next one. So, chemicals hated by RFK Jr. linked to 500% increase in autism in shock new research. So they're saying that fluoride appears at much higher risk of autism according to a shock news study. People have been saying this for years, but people are not listening. People do not want to listen because they put it, people in the UK, we put it in water and we get upset that science is solved. We don't like really looking at science anymore. It's not like it used to be. Science changes on the daily, so you have to keep checking it. The problem that we have is that most of the time people don't care. And that's what it's down to. The company will pay a lot of money to the people producing the evidence, and they will write it any way the company tells them to. And we get this time and time and time again. But we can't. The problem is they don't care. And we can't do anything about it. And money talks. If I say to you, can you write a report about fluoride, and you've got to be truthful, and I'm going to give you £10,000 or dollars to do it. And then the company comes up and says, we want you to write one, but we're going to give you 500,000, but we want you to find the evidence that it can't do that, that it isn't anything to do with it. And they will fudge numbers. It's happened since time began. People have been done for it before. Pfizer's got done for it donkeys years ago when I was working security. A lot of chemical companies have done it. Diesel companies have done it. Petrol companies have done it. Car companies have done it. So, unless the system is infallible, which it's not. You will get this. I think if anyone's going to do anything like this, I think with the research, there should be 3 people that do it. And out of that, they must reach a census after each report is written. If the census is not there that they all agree, it's back to why, then they can have discussion. Why? And it should be a lot of people that are involved in all of them. And then they should be randomly picked to all go to different places, like a lottery system, and you would stop a lot of the corruption. Because then the companies would have to at least bribe 2 of the people doing the work. And it's more likely to fall apart somewhere. Someone will speak up quicker. If it's just 1 or 2, and they're getting a big cash cow out of it, they're not going to speak up. I think, yes, it will take more investment, but I think people's health and kids' health should become a priority. Right. Nevada mum seeks revenge after son's 17 was filmed being stomped to death by a gang of bullies. Now, I'm not going to show the video, but this is the boy that was absolutely stomped on by these bunch of animals, and he was killed. Multiple injuries, internal bleeding. I ain't going to show the video. These are the people that done it, and they acted like a pack of animals. And people are saying, oh, maybe he started it. Maybe he called them a name. So because someone might have said something, it's okay to go and stomp him to death. No, it's not. It's never okay to go and attack someone like a pack of animals. But this is the way the world is going. But I hope it starts to change soon for the children's sake. Because people are growing up and they're getting hurt for no real reason. Right, so let's go through this. Why is that over there a bit more? One second, I'll move it over. There we go. Right. Jess Phillips would not meet rape gang victims because she understands she is assisting in the continuing abuse and rape of young children in the UK for Labour votes. And that's what Labour are doing. That is why they do not want an inquiry. That is why they do not want an investigation into the Pakistani Muslim rape gangs in the UK. Because it would upset their vote. Because MPs, councillors, police would all have to be fired. Because they were told about it, they were warned about it. Some of them actually knows the perpetrators and was friends with them. So I think, and a lot of the girls have been told they can't speak up. One of them had the police go round after she said that she was abused on TV, went round to her house to question her, saying that she could be causing anxiety in the community because she's telling people about her being abused. That is where the policing has come in the UK. And MPs like Jess Phillips know all about it. She's claiming that she does all she can. The way that I see it is doing a good deed some of the time and then doing a bad deed the other part of the time, still the same as doing the bad deed. It's a bit like I put up the other day, it's a bit like Jimmy Savile saying, well, I help so many kids. Does it really matter about the kids that I abuse? And that's what Labour are about. Oh, well, we're helping these children over. How can I do it? Helping children over here. But these children there, don't worry about them. They can get abused, but we're helping the children here. And that is how they're doing it. And that is the Labour government at the moment. They don't care about the children. They don't care about old people. They don't care about the disabled. They don't care about the sick. But then they announced that Moss and that are getting a big cash injection. So you see the votes they need. They're willing to push money into. But Jess Phillips is a coward. Right. Let's clear this up before we listen to listen to the person. Liz Kendall, who says that sick people and benefits are all mick takers. 1 second, I'm just going to sort my throat out. Just going to take a bit of water and I'll be right back. Right, I'm back. Sorry about that. I have to take tablets and that this time of night as well. Right. Let's start this one again. Liz Kendall refused to retract comments saying too many people benefits are taking the mickey. She says 8 billion people a year are wasting fraud with no evidence other than I'm Labour and I say so. The last government investigation found that 0.2% of fraud was found in disability benefits because they are so hard to get. And they are. When you go for a disabled benefit or that, you are treated like you are the scum of the earth. That you are there to take from their pocket. The doctors treat you like crap. It doesn't matter if you go there with x-rays, medical evidence, doped up to your eyeballs. They still say, well, you may be able to find a job somewhere. And I've said it on here before. Sorry, keep repeating them. A friend went there. She had no legs. She hasn't had them. Something happened when she was a kid. I think it was an accident. So from the knees down, she hasn't got anything. And they said that she walked into a medical, could stand, touch her toes, fine. She walked in without any assistance and she walked out with assistance. After living on £79, I think it was a week, for 9 months, she got to go to a tribunal where they said to her, well, how long have you had no legs? She was like, since a kid. And they was like, but how did you walk in? And that's what she said. Well, I didn't. It was a lie. And they checked her medical. It took about 10 minutes and they found out that she got the full whack. Because she's got multiple problems. She can't go to work because she can't be too far away from the bathroom. She can't go out that much. She's not, how can we put it, mentally safe to be around other people. And she's just happy with her life her and her cats and doing her bit. But people want to push it. But let's listen to what she's got to say.
Yes, I think they have been stigmatised for the past 14 years. I speak to so many disabled people who are desperate for a chance of work, but they need the right help and support, they need flexible working, they need to make sure that if they've been out of work for a while, they get the skills support they need. We've got to overhaul the system because it's not right for people who are written off and trapped on benefits, and it's not right for the country either.
But once when we met before, and I know you did talk about the many people who wanted to work, you also said some people were taking the mickey, and some people have said to us that language really upset them. Do you regret using that language?
£8 billion a year is wasted on fraud in the benefits system. That's why we've got a fraud bill going through Parliament now. And it is because I don't want to see that money wasted on fraud when it could go on supporting more people like we've seen here today. They deserve a chance, and that's what this government will give them.
So you do think that people are there who are taking the mickey?
There's £8 billion of fraud every single year, and you imagine the
Well, I haven't
difference
got any
that money
evidence
could
for it.
make to actually helping more people who can work get into work. I think we've got to have trust in the system, and we've got to shift the focus more towards helping those who can work get into work.
But they don't want to show the evidence that there's £8 billion worth of fraud. So it's definitely not on sickness benefits. There's that story again about RFK. This happened in London on Blackheath Fair. 40 odd people carrying knives, so bystanders were saying, running around fighting each other. Police had to turn up and they couldn't even control kids. These are 13, 14-year-olds. And the first thing when people are getting stabbed, what is it the first thing people want to do? Run around and grab a phone.
Day in the life of fucking black people. My nigga, they're here pushing people. They didn't fuck up people. Oh, shit. Is that a fact?
And this is what kids... I don't blame the kids, actually. I blame the parents. Parents dragged them up. And that is the problem with that. The parents have dragged them up. Let's not beat around the bush. This is another story. Home Secretary responds to the ranking system of candidates applying for West Yorkshire Police. Black and Far East candidates are gold, South East silver, white and others are bronze. That's how they are saying that people should be listed when they're applying for these jobs, because they do not want white people in these jobs. In a country that is 81% white. So let's listen to what another idiot Labour MP has got to say.
You don't think this is taking place in West Yorkshire?
So, as I
They've
understand
admitted
they
it is.
complying with all of the fair recruitment standards and
the
right that they should do so.
People are given a certain ranking, i.e. Black and Far East Asian candidates are gold, followed by South East Asian, who are silver, and white others include British, Eastern European and Irish. How fair is that?
Yeah, so I don't know the details, as I've said. I don't know the details of individual forces recruitment.
But
as I
broadly speaking, would you be supportive
but-
of that, Home Secretary?
Well, the arrangements have to be about getting the best possible candidates for the job. And
So because they're the best
always got to
candidates
be the
because
case.
of their colour.
And as I understand it, this has all been looked at by Her Majesty's Inspectorate to ensure that that is the case.
You don't think this?
It's a joke. It's racism, but just because they want to say, oh, we need more this ethnic minority into the groups, this ethnic minority into that group, it's okay by them. And this is what is the sickening thing, is that so many people think that that's okay. That so many people think that just because of someone's colour they should be hired. This is diversity hiring, as they call it in the US, just in the UK. But too many cows don't want to say it. I don't think your colour should come into it at all. It should be the best person for the job. This was just a story that we did about the left's mindset. You're not mad at those who lied to you for years, but you're mad at me for proving that you lied. You're mad at me for proving that they lied to you. Which is true. People are so upset with Elon Musk because he's proving how bad the system is. $150 billion he's saved so far. And people are upset with him because... Why? Because he's saving the taxpayer money. And don't get me wrong, your government's going to spend it like shite. Let's not get that wrong. But every government does. But at least they're trying to cut some of the money. And maybe you can start working on where that money can go somewhere else. Or just getting down your deficit that you're paying billions each year just for the debt. But as always, it's the messenger that gets shot because you're too much of a coward to blame the people and the governments that have been ripping you off for years. Alright, so hang on before this gets too far. Sir Trevor Phillips, former Chief of Equality, Human Rights Commission. I can't tell you how cross I am about the rape gangs being cancelled inquiries.
I know it's not my business, and I know I'm, just a television.
But it's everyone's business.
Radio presenter. But I think what the government is doing on that question is utterly, utterly shameful.
Really?
Utterly shameful. And it is so obviously political that it's people who in government who are responsible for this, who are in other ways, I think completely decent people, should really be ashamed of themselves. And because it's so obvious that they're not doing this because the demographic of the people involved, as Katie Lamb, the Tory MP, said yesterday, largely Pakistani Muslim in background, and also in Labour-held seats and councils who would be offended by it. And that's clearly the reason that they're not pursuing this. And it is utterly shameful given what has been done to these children by these men. I can't.
If a white person had said that, as the MP did yesterday, they would be called a racist, Islamophobic, and all the names under the sun.
Not tell you how cross I am about it, but it relates to the question you asked me, because I think part of the problem is that the centre left has put all sorts of barriers around what it can talk about, what it may speak out about. And in the same way as we have this problem here in the United States, the Democrats have had almost nothing to say about, for example, immigration, had nothing very much to say about some of the barriers on freedom of speech on campuses and so on because they're embarrassed by it, and it has presented an absolute open goal to people like Trump and Vance.
See, he's trying to conflate it into a racist thing. Facts are not racist, they can't be racist. Did these Pakistani Muslim gangs do it? Yes, they've been convicted of it. Was it 85% Pakistani Muslim rape gangs? 100%. Should the other gangs, the other 15%, be prosecuted just as much, no matter their colour, creed or religion? 100%. They should all go to prison for the rest of their lives, because we do not have the death penalty in the UK because we have too many cowards in power. And people do not trust the government to actually follow the law to get conviction. Oh, this was another joke. Iranian asylum seeker just avoided deportation because he has too many Facebook friends. The UK is a joke. So, he couldn't be deported because he had too many friends on Facebook, and it could upset too many people. Yep. So come to the UK, get some Facebook friends, and you can't be deported. This is our joke of a justice system. This is what people think is okay now. And the left are like, yay, he can stay. The other week they was happy that a rapist could stay in the UK and a child abuser, and it just blows my mind, to be honest. They are happy that criminals can stay in the UK that are abusing children and that, because it's not fair to send them back because they could face justice because they're wanted in their own country for abusing children and stuff like that. Not this case, but other cases. That's Britain now. Can't show that one because he's calling on. So, this German journalist handed a suspended prison sentence for mocking a minister for hating freedom of speech. So the minister says that freedom of speech is getting in the way because people are speaking about immigration and stuff like that. So, and I put, but Europe's nothing like Germany in 1937, where they was arresting journalists and political opponents for speech. I think we're closer than we've ever been before. Something big is going to happen and it's going to swing one way or the other. And the sad thing about it is it's probably going to lead to war either way. Can't show that on here because he's saying that he loves Hitler. These are all on my Twitter page, so you're free to go to Twitter. They should be linked in the bios. If not, you can see it there at the top. I don't know who this Muppet is. But, as I put, who is the moron who thinks Gen Z over old age P when it comes, should be C, over, comes to CGPs? And I put, no, OAPs paid for the system. Most of Gen Z pay for nothing. Bottom 30% pay less than 8 billion in income tax. Almost nothing. So let's see what he's got to say.
Yeah, so I think first
There
of
you
all,
go.
you know, I think it's important to get access to healthcare. I think health's important, so I think both is as important as each other. However, I do believe that Gen Z, they are the backbone of society. They are the future. And I think that as a society, with the state of the economy, we've got to take preventive measures. So I think as a Gen Z, you're more likely to get healthcare and not need it for a while longer. Whereas maybe as a more elderly person, when you get to a certain stage, certain illnesses, they can be repetitive. So it can be a cycle. And that
The facts are that Gen Z and that need more medical because they need medication on the monthly to be changed just to handle life. Because they was brought up to be pussies.
might be why it's so long. As the Gen Z, if you get them in and out, they can get back into work.
Straight back
it's
out
helping
there.
employers.
Debbie, what about that point? Then they're the backbone, they're the future.
It's absolutely crap because Gen Z are not working like the older generations did.
And it's important with these things to get in early.
So you wait.
I wait?
You wait. Let him get in first.
Of course not. That's absolutely ridiculous. If I had a broken shoulder and you had a terminal illness, then I would expect you to go first. But if it was the other way round, I would expect me to go first. And I've paid my taxes. I'm still paying my taxes. I am called an OAP, but I'm still working. So why should I prioritise you and not me, and not us? This is absolutely ridiculous. We've been working for years, and we're still working. If I was sitting there, you know, doing my knitting and not doing anything else, but even if I was doing my knitting, I've still paid my dues.
It's not about you though. So like
It is about me. It's about my age
You're
group.
paying your taxes, but like that's you. There's a lot of people in the age bracket to you that aren't working, aren't paying taxes,
But they have
and
paid
also
You still pay taxes up to you're 75 until you retire. What is he talking about? Absolute crap.
And also, you're also the wealthiest group in the UK, so you can afford to move go private. Whereas Gen Z,
hang on a minute.
whereas Gen
You
Z,
can't say that
they're
to
struggling
somebody
with housing.
who cannot
They're struggling
pay.
with housing.
Yeah, some
a
old
lot of them are in debt.
cannot
They can't
pay
go to
their
private.
electricity bills, darling.
I know, of
so
course.
you can't say they're wealthy.
And
you know,
Gen Z
they're
can.
freezing
And
to
Gen Z
death.
can. And Gen Z can.
Well, Gen Z have got a chance to get their lives together. We all
If they
had
get
to
the right
do that when
healthcare.
we were
If
younger.
they get the right healthcare.
We did. We are talking about healthcare and everything. You're saying that older people should, they can go private. They can't afford to go
I don't
private.
think it can be. They've got more of a likelihood of going private. So Gen Z, we've got the housing working against us. We've got the job market working against us.
I hate people that think they're victims for everything. Then go out and work a bit harder. Go out and do the jobs. When I wanted to go abroad, I had to work 2 jobs. I was working from 6 in the morning till 6 at night driving a van delivering. And then I was working from midnight till 4 on the railways.
Cost of living crisis, pandemic.
But
It feels like the whole world. It feels like the whole world is against us.
You've
We've
also
got to have a chance.
You're young and you've got the whole world. You've got years and years ahead of us, of you, and we've got years ahead of us. We've done this before, and it's about time you guys
It's just
got up and had
victim.
some
Oh, we
memory
need
about you.
to
You know,
this,
you
we
can
need
do
that,
it.
we need
You don't
this.
need to prioritise yourselves. It's discriminatory to older people. It should not be allowed.
That doesn't make sense because discrimination is both ways. So if you're saying you're getting health because you're older, that's also discrimination to younger people because you're saying that you can't get it because they're younger. So
We're not saying they can't get it.
discrimination.
We're saying it's about how ill you are.
I do believe it should be based on severity. So if, of course, it's terminal illness and broken shoulder, of course, terminal illness. But if we sat here today and we've got one person both terminally ill, if I was older, honestly speaking, me personally and a lot of people, if 2 people are terminally ill, I would let the younger person go because I'll be honest, I've lived my, I've served. I think as an older person,
You've served? How old are you?
No, if I was older, if I was older,
Yeah.
I would want to like see the next people come through. If we both,
Oh
if
yes,
we're both,
we're just
I
going to
wanna
lie
ask you-
down in a coffin.
I want to
and
ask you.
wait
I want to
for
ask you that question. If you,
It's. I can understand what he's trying to say, but to be honest, he's saying it a bit retarded. But if it was about a heart, if there's a 90-year-old and a 19-year-old that needs a heart, one of them's got to get it. It should go to a 19-year-old. If it's stuff like that, yes, I understand. But when he's just talking about medical treatment, then no. It's who's got it most severe. But it's just getting worse and worse with the victimhood. So Yvette Cooper explains why.
There's been upset.
Yvette Cooper's explaining why the grooming gangs were cancelled. But she comes out with nothing but excuses and lies. So let's listen to what Yvette Cooper has to say.
This week about the situation with the grooming gangs inquiries, haven't there? Can you tell us what's happening? Because the government announced these 5 locally led inquiries back in January. Now this week we hear it's been shifted in favour of what's being described as a flexible approach that involves more bespoke work like victims panels. I mean, there are real concerns that this is being watered down. I'm going to play you now a piece of soundbite that we've got from one of the fathers of a grooming victim. It's Marlon West. Just listen to what he has to say on this subject.
If Yvette Cooper was with me now, one, I'd tell her how disgusted I feel and how let down. You know, for example, Scarlett, my daughter, has been through hell and back, and so have all the other survivors. And to dismiss them and throw them under the bus the way they have.
That's what Labour have done.
Where do we go?
Labour have literally thrown 6,500 girls that we know of, with an estimated 250,000 in the last 25 years, under the bus for a vote. You know why they did it just before they left? Because they knew local elections was coming up, and they promised the Muslim voters in these areas that they would get rid of it before the vote come up, because they was warned that they was not going to get voted for. So it's a bribe. It's a payoff. They will say, oh, we're going to do it in the future. But let's be honest, Labour have lied so much since they've been elected. 12 of the 13 manifestos have been broken.
What's your reaction? Because, you know, we can hear there the pain from victims' families, the victims themselves, what they have been through, and they feel let down by this decision.
So what we're doing is increasing the action on these vile crimes, child sexual exploitation and abuse. And understandably, victims and survivors want stronger action. That's what we're doing. There has been a huge amount of misinformation this week. Sadly, party political misinformation. It is just wrong. We're not watering anything down. We're actually increasing and strengthening the action that we are taking. So we're supporting local inquiries. We've announced the first one will be Oldham, but there will be other local inquiries. We're setting out the framework. We always said we would also do more to support victims and survivors, and we're actually announcing additional therapeutic support will be provided for victims and survivors of awful.
Oh, so you was raped and abused for years. The abusers are still on the street waving at you, and get let out after a year. But we'll give you some therapeutic treatment. We'll make you feel pretty again so these people can go and abuse your kids.
Child abuse and exploitation. These are the most terrible crimes of all. We're talking about rape, we're talking about coercion, we're talking
murder. This is what they all seem to forget. There was murder involved as well.
About exploitation. We have to have support for victims and survivors. We have to have local inquiries.
Well, you're not supporting money by covering it up. Let's be honest, Labour.
Where they are needed, but we also crucially have to have police investigations. The most important thing we are doing is increasing police investigations into these appalling crimes so that we get the perpetrators behind bars. That is the justice that victims and survivors need to see.
And you let them out quicker because you want to put people that put bad posts on the internet in jail. Alright, this one is if you're a man dating a trans woman, that does not make you gay. Yes, if you're a man and you have sex with a man, you are gay. Nope.
Some of the most incredible women that I know.
They're men.
Are dating a feel lucky and maybe like worship the ground she walks on.
No. They're still men. And if that's what you like, good for you. But you can't change their biology. They're still men. And people need to recognise that. Let's go to our next one. We've got a few more to do. We're going for it tonight. We'll probably only be on for another half hour. So, in a minute, I can't move because my leg's dead. So, Wes Streeton says, I hope that Sniffer's position is well understood. I hope the sincerity of our position is understood and failing to introduce a Hillsborough law in time for the unveiling report that the government is going to war. Let's listen to what he actually says.
We definitely want to see the law changed. We want to see the duty of candour on the statute books and the Hillsborough law delivered. The most important thing I think that all of us would agree on is it's got to work not just in principle but in practice, and that's why it's taking a little bit longer than any of us would have hoped. But I hope that the sincerity of our position is well understood and that everyone agrees that we've got to get this right in law so that it actually delivers for families.
In other words, they're useless and they can't do it. They're hoping to do it by the end of Parliament if they can be bothered to get round to it. But at the minute, they need to concentrate on the local elections where they're going to get destroyed, and then in the next general election where Labour are just going to get wiped out again for 15 years. So then we've got yesterday, Sam told MPs his benefit cuts are about principles and people who can work should work. PIP helps 15 to 20% of people receiving it to stay in work and equipment. Cutting this will place more disabled people out of work and make people be forgotten. Why does Labour hate the disabled? So let's listen to what he says.
Just some samples of what's come into my inbox. I am beyond stressed with anticipation of losing money. I have £700 to live on this month. Another one, the proposed cuts to disability benefits have left me feeling full of panic about the future and extremely let down. Prime Minister, what would you say to them?
Those people that do need support and protection should get support and protection. Those that want to bridge into work should be supported by the government to bridge into work. At the moment, my own analysis is that pretty well all of the rules make it harder for people to get into work, not easier for them to get into work. But equally, those that can work should work, and we need to just apply those principles to the work that we are doing as we go along.
Just some samples of what's...
See, at the end he changed, those who can work should work. Some people can work some days and can't others. Most jobs won't take that. Sometimes people can't stand. Some people just sleep when they're disabled and they're on lots of drugs and they're very ill. I know people that sleep 16 hours a day because they're so ill. I know people that can't walk some days. I know people that have to be close to the toilet. I know people that can't be around people because as soon as they wind them up, they lose control. And they're a danger. But they think a 20-minute appointment or an half an hour appointment shows all this up. I think that's about it, actually. Oh, this one. More people are leaving London and exiting the UK. Millionaires and billionaires because of the wealth tax that's coming, and because Labour government and how bad they're taxing people, destroying businesses. Another one about the Labour cancelling the Rotherham sex abuse because they don't want their MPs and councillors to be found out to be assisting. I think that's all the stories for tonight. I know we've only been on for an hour, but it's been a bit of slow old news day and there's not many people in here to chat. There's only one person in each area, or two in one of them. There's only like 6 of us in here, but when we get more people in and we chat more, we'll stay on a lot longer. Cheers for coming, the ones that did. And thanks for today.